When I look at our youth, I honestly see them carrying the weight of the world. Despite their age, real life is happening around them.
And music is presence. It is the awareness of everything that is going on around us. And we have some input, but we only have input if we take the accountability and the action to be present in the moment.
If you can get a child's attention, you can teach them anything. And music is one way to get their attention. And so once we got you, we gonna teach you, and we gonna plant some seeds.
Welcome to Shaping Freedom. These conversations are about how freedom is actually formed, what we inherit, what stops working, and the choices that change how we live and lead. I'm your host, Lisane Basquiat. We're going to have kind of a crowded room here today. I have the opportunity to talk about one of the most important topics of my life, and that is music. So I'm really excited to get into a conversation around that. Today's conversation sits at the intersection of creativity and healing in a way that I think a lot of people will recognize immediately. My guests today are Haskel Jackson Jr., Jared Baisley, and Sean Lewis from Music for Your Mental Health. This is a nonprofit that uses music as a way to help young people access and express what they're feeling, often before they have the language to say it themselves. What stood out to me about their work is that it brings together producers, educators, and a therapist to create space where expression becomes possible and where healing can begin in a way that feels natural to them and not forced upon them. What I wanted to explore today, or what I do want to explore today, is what happens when music becomes more than something we just listen to and starts to become the way and the language that we use to better understand ourselves. Welcome to this conversation, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us. We are super excited, and it's a blessing to be here this morning with you.
It is, right? It is. So I want to bring y'all into the scene before we get into this. So I'm in my home office. I'm in San Diego, and Haskel is driving along the street. So he's turned this into a music video, a music conversation video.
Yes. Yes, we rolling.
Right? We're rolling for sure. And Sean and Jared both have instruments in their background. And so here we are to have this amazing conversation. So let's see, where do we get started? Haskel Jackson Jr. is the CEO of this incredible organization, a 7-time Grammy-nominated producer. Go ahead, Haskel. 3 times Billboard #1 producer, 30-something years in the music industry.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, or from what the internets have told me, you bring industry, lived experience, and understanding that music isn't just about entertaining us. It's about an infrastructure that we can use for expression and growth.
Yes, absolutely. Being in the music industry this long, I've been able to work with tons of people. Obviously, music has taken me around the world, from musicianship to being an artist to being a producer, now artist development. And one of my loves is working with kids. So through all of the culmination of my experience in the music business, from on high, from the Grammys to really live shows, these different experiences in different countries, it brought me to how do I give all this information and knowledge back to the younger generation. And so it's my love. It's a passion of mine. And I want to say that Music for Your Mental, for me, has tied all the knots. It's just brought these different industries together all in one place. And so now, for me, music is therapy. It's always been therapy. It's a universal language. It gets us talking. If we don't have the words, a lot of times to speak or to format, music can do that for us. And it gives us those frequencies and that feeling that we can revisit whenever we want to. So it's a sense of ownership. And we want to take that, we take these things into hospitals, classrooms, these different things. So I'm very grateful for music. I see it in a different way. Some people throw it on in their car and they just roll. I am able to actually create these sounds and have seen lives change, you know, and it's been an absolutely amazing thing. So my team, Jay and Sean, these are my guys, and we have a host of other teammates as well. So we're excited. We're out on these streets right now,
That's right.
making it
That's
happen.
right.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. So, Haskell,
Yeah.
actually, since you opened up that door, why don't you introduce your team?
Okay. So Jared, we call him Jay. He's my, all of these guys are my little brothers. I'm the oldest of the group. So Jared, we met years ago. He had a group called Dow's Mavis, and Dow's Mavis is an R&B group. The play on words, you get it. Dow's Mavis. I'll let y'all figure that out. Miles Davis.
You just told
It's
us.
amazing. Yeah. So I want to help y'all out over here. Since y'all all are in the back of the truck, we rolling.
That's
But
right.
yeah, so Jared, we've been working together for some years now, and from the first day I met Jared, it's been a pleasure because this guy is really focused on making a change in this world, and I'll let him even speak more on himself. But we got Jared Baisley, and we got my brother. We call him S. Dot. His name is Sean Lewis, and he's a certified therapist. He's our guy. He's amazing. Whatever he puts his hands to, he's a musician as well. So I'll turn it over to Jared and let him kind of give his intro.
Well, thank you for that very kind intro, Hask.
You're welcome.
I'm Jared. Everybody calls me Jay, the Chief Operations Officer at Music for Your Mental Health. And one of the things that really drew me to even creating this was the experiences that I had as a musician, working about 20 years in music myself, in the band, in the R&B group, doing the choreography that Haskell mentioned, and Dials Mavis, and writing for other artists, and having experiences being signed to Interscope, and just seeing how things work. Uh, I noticed that working in the studio, um, there was a level of vulnerability that I hadn't seen in any other environment. And Haskell Studio specifically um, required artists to come in uh, sober. There wasn't the typical studio environment of drinking and smoking and straight West Coasting. And so,
I've never heard that.
I enjoyed that because it made me feel comfortable. And I remember realizing that 90% of our sessions would be centered around conversation and learning one another. And then from that conversation, being able to um, turn that into an actual song. And Haskell really helped me to discover and hone that gift in myself, and um, wanted to really share it with more than just people who were trying to get on or trying to you know be involved in the music industry at a high level, noticing that it was a skill and it was really medicine that could be shared to anyone at any level. And so we developed the tagline of our organization, which was, if you can tell me what you're listening to, then we can start to talk about what you're going through and unpack your life through your playlist. And from that, we can create, we can write, we can, produce, and then you can essentially create your own medicine. So, um, yeah, that's how I got involved. That's who I am. I help to facilitate that. And yeah, I've been living the dream ever since. I'll pass it to Sean.
My name is Sean Lewis. The team refers to me as S. Dot. We have a couple of Seans on our team. Um, and I am an associate marriage and family therapist. And I work as the curriculum director for Music for Your Mental Health. So my connection with the team is from that lens of therapy. And music for me has served as the bridge with youth in having the deeper conversations. I was trained in working in group homes and rehab facilities and homeless shelters throughout LA. And in a lot of my interviews and sessions with people, sometimes a typical therapy session would cause people to clam up and kind of shrink in the room when we're asking about, hey, have you ever had any suicidal thoughts? Are you dealing with any depression? Are you using any drugs? And before really getting into the meat of conversations that are so heavy and weighted, um, for me, using music as a thermostat and a thermometer to see where everybody is at the moment uh, has really been a great icebreaker for me. Um, when people have been on the brink of maybe relapsing and maybe having manic attacks and breakdowns, um, asking them about their music has kind of helped press the pause button on those actual events happening, and then giving me a little bit of perspective on how they cope with life. And for me, when I look at music, of course, music is transformational. To me, I live music as kind of as a soundtrack. So when I was introduced to music, they had soundtracks to movies. So I look at life in the same way. The music is the backdrop for how you're working through your day, how you're going, and music helps people cope. Um, it can serve as escapism. It can help you feel heard and affirmed and valued when you play the right thing. It can also set the tone for whatever you're doing, whether you're playing a game or going out to do something crazy. But but usually that gives me some context when I work with my individuals and with groups, where they're coming from, what their experiences are, and then we can start talking about the harder topics.
What I love about what all three of you said is, Jared, you described Haskell kind of setting the stage for what happened in the studio. And it's a stage of like not coming into the room and having each individual artist or person escape into whatever substance they chose, but to really become present first and to create and build from there. And that is uniquely special, I think, an approach to music. Why do you all think that music is as powerful an entry point as it is to human being, to the human experience?
Imagine a world without music.
I cannot and do not want to.
Yeah, it's absolutely impossible to imagine a world without music. It's all around us. It's in our movies, it's in TV shows, it's on commercials, it's in our cars, it's in our ears, it's at the gym, it's wherever we turn. There's no way to get away from music. So that's the one thing that ties us all together. And whether
Mhm.
we like each other or not, what it doesn't matter what background we come from, whether we speak Spanish, French, Italian, it doesn't matter. There's a line that goes through every one of our ears and our hearts, and we feel the same things, just at different times and at different levels. And so music was here to have us be born, that is there when we die. It's at weddings, it's at funerals, it's at baby births, it doesn't music is everywhere. And so I think, not to get too vulgar with it, but music has been used for a prostitution type, where it's been used in many ways to do harmful things to people. I'm not going to be
Mhm.
listening to gospel and classical music if I'm going to rob a bank. Now, if I do, if
Hopefully.
I am,
Okay.
What kind of
Hopefully.
criminal are you?
that's a conversation.
Pick a
I
lane.
am, if I
Yeah.
Ooh.
ever have seen someone listening to gospel music while they're on their way to do harm, that's another level.
We're pulling that person into an alley because
that's,
now
that's,
you've crossed a line.
that's what I'm saying.
How
Mercy.
disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Come on now.
so
Stop
you
it.
know, so like you use music to get you pumped up to do things. Yeah, you use music to get you to calm, get hype, go do something bad, do something good, kind of calm your nerves. It's used for so many different things, and we want to use it in a way where it gets kids to open up and talk. And we'll do lyrical analysis with them and go through these lyrics that they're listening to and they're putting in their spirit and their mind. And a lot of times they'll realize, like, wow, yeah, I only listened to the music. I wasn't listening to the lyric. And it would show them it lives. Those words live in us. So that's my input on that.
Let's take a quick step back. Can you help us to understand what was it what brought you to this work? So here we are now, the organization is formed, you're doing this incredible work, and I want to get into that. But what's the need that you're trying to meet?
I'll start it. It's as simple as the environment of the studio brought a sense of it was a safe space for people to speak and to kind of open up, because we needed that information in order to write and produce artists. So what they did there, we wanted to take that to the world in so many words. And I believe that if you can get a child's attention, you can teach them anything. And music is one way to get their attention. And so once we got you, we gonna teach you, and we gonna plant some seeds.
Thank you for saying that because that is a huge word in this space right now. And that is once you get a child or anyone, but we're talking about children right now, once you get a person's attention, then you can tell them anything because then they're open and receptive to hearing what you have to say. And I think
Yeah.
that in the work that I do, helping people to kind of understand how some of these familial patterns um, contribute in a negative way to their family legacy versus what they actually want, which is like, I want you to understand these values. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. But they're not waiting for that moment that you need before embarking into conversation, similar to
Yeah.
what you do in the studio. Like you have to be present
Yeah.
before you can get someone to understand, or before you yourself can hear. And so I just wanted to give that a beat, right? For
Yeah.
those people who are listening, who are either in relationships or who are struggling with healthy communication, having healthy communication with their children, you got to get their attention first. You got to get them to look at you and be willing to hear. And without that, you're just talking. They're just watching your mouth move and thinking about what they're going to go do with their friends later on, listening to gospel music, going to do whatever they're going to do.
Wow.
Right.
Even that, on the front end or on the back end, a lot of times, you use the music to kind of cleanse yourself from whatever happened or just reset and bring you back into a place of balance.
Yeah. In this world today, this current 2026 chapter of world history, what and anyone can answer this, what do you see young people carrying right now that perhaps we adults might be missing?
Ooh,
Good question.
from my perspective, when I look at our youth, I honestly see them carrying the weight of the world. And, despite their age, um, real life is happening around them. And as quiet as kept, you know, the things that they experience within their families, in their living spaces and environments, so much can be happening that they're exposed to, that consciously or subconsciously, um, sticking to them emotionally and mentally. Any episode or experience that they go through can weigh on them. So being able to, um, feel and be mindful of what they're experiencing in their families and their homes, and navigating that, a lot of times that's not modeled or even, explored in groups. So I think I think that's the why as to us, kind of joining this collaboration and taking this work on, because we've seen so many people try to suppress their feelings and the weight of life happening around them, and them hitting a wall and not finding how to manage everything and navigate things healthily.
We talk a lot about the legacy that we want to leave, but what about the one that we're living in right now? I'm Lisane Basquiat. I'm a board-certified NLP expert and a legacy healing strategist. I created Shaping Freedom to help our community move from autopilot to authority. Whether it's through my podcast, the Lounging with Lisane meditations, or our signature candles and journals, I provide the elite tools that you need to heal and to lead your family more effectively. Own your evolution. Visit shapingfreedom.com. That's shapingfreedom.com. And I think a lot of it is because it's not necessarily modeled for them. I was talking to someone yesterday about how much we've normalized chaos and trauma and triggers in our day-to-day life. Like literally, I don't know what was happening in the moments before we all got on this call, but I'm noticing more and more that a person will be on the phone or engage in like really horrific, you're seeing a news flash about some terrible thing happening in the world or in your neighborhood, or getting very upsetting news. And then we just hear it, move it to the side, and move on to the next thing. I heard this terrible information and now let me just get to answering my emails. Hey, how are you? Like we are not taking a lot of time to process what's happening. And our children and young people, or who, the people around us, are observing us do that. And it really does seem to be um, a movement toward, there has been, I believe, a movement toward dehumanizing people, right? And I think that this work that you're doing um, is work to help shift things back into or toward whichever direction, uh, shifting humans to a place where they're connecting again to themselves and to that beat that we enter the world with. Like we enter the world hearing our mother's heartbeat. There's music in that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important medicine.
I want to add on as well to your question about what do we feel, you know, kids and folks are carrying. One of the things I've been noticing is I've been married going on 29 years now. And
Congratulations.
in today's time, thank you. In today's time, relationships aren't lasting as long as they used to, right? So a lot of the young people that we're working with and that I work with in particular, they desire relationship and they really want love. They want they want, man, they want it all of what I've had to experience. And one sentiment that every one of them have spoken is the dating pool is crazy. They can't find a mate. And so that heaviness on them, they're carrying that around into this world. And they're not, that joining of mind and spirit and body and all those things, it's just not happening. It's like they're going from one person to the next. They're trying to find their way. And it's very disheartening for them. And so my heart goes out to them because they have these dating sites and they have all these little meetups and get-ups. And what is it really doing? It's not like it was before when we were dating. So I would say that's one of the things as well. That's heavy on their shoulders.
I'm just going to say I'm single. And I'm going to say this, right? There was a time, I'll put it out there.
Put your seatbelt on. Put y'all seatbelt on back there.
There was a time where I thought that, and I'm single by choice until, okay, let me just say that.
Okay.
Until I'm
Okay.
about quality,
Right.
not quantity, because I ain't got
Right.
time. All right. And nor do I want the emotional wear and tear. But I will say this. There was a time where I thought that it was very specific to my situation or the situation of friends. And I think that that is a challenge that many people are having. No matter where they are in the world, no matter the gender, no matter the color, there are a lot of people that are having that challenge. And I think that part of it has to do with discernment.
Mhm.
Talk about that, please.
Well, I think that at the end of the day, you break up or stay together based on the alignment of your values. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so they are out there looking for something without being clear about what they really want and or what their values are. And so when you encounter a person, a lot of times people are jumping to the person that makes them feel good in the moment or the person that looks good or the person that looks good on paper and all of that. And then you get into the reality of the relationship and you find that the alignment really isn't there. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about whether or not that person is right for you, because that's
Come
who we
on.
should be looking for, is the person that's right for us. And
That's good.
so you can have 20, Sean, this is your work.
Of
You
course.
can, you can spend 20, 30 decades, different face, different name, same joker or jokerette, right?
Yeah.
And, looking, but I think that if you take a moment and take a step back and become more discerning about who you are, what you want, and what kind of a life you want to have, and hold out for that right person, I think that those numbers will go down. So I don't think the problem is marriage or relationship. I think that we have a discernment problem, and we don't want to be alone, and we don't want to take the time to do the work and to spend the time sitting in discomfort, on that journey of finding out who we are. I think that's the problem.
That's good stuff.
That's so prevalent.
Just drop the mic on your own show. Look at
Listen.
that.
So let's get back to y'all put me into dating. Let's come back, Lisane. Come back to dating. There was a time where I wouldn't even say I'm single. And now I've decided very recently, I'm just going to say it because he's not going to just drop here in my home office, right? And I barely
you
go
gotta
to
let
the
'em
grocery
know.
store. I got to let him know, right? And I barely go to the grocery store.
And when it comes to quality, you're not going to, not everything that drops is for you to begin with. So,
Yes.
Right.
There's been some drop kicks.
Of course. Of course.
Let me stop. Okay. Tell us more about this organization. Like, what are you doing? What is the vision for the organization? Who are you serving? How are you serving them? Let's get back to that.
Answering all of those questions and speaking to what we've been talking about. The organization is really meant to cater to underserved populations. So the people, and underserved is such a, it's it's a vague word. I used to think it meant specifically people who look like us. Um, and what I realized, working in LAUSD school district and in Bel Air and in Long Beach and Compton, was that there were deficiencies throughout. And even students who seemingly had a larger or bigger socioeconomic standing were still very much underserved when it came to just love and care from their own families. And so the definition of underserved um, became a lot wider. And so the program, when you break it down, we offer a lyric analysis workshop that turns into songwriting and production. And the first thing that we do in the workshop is we check in. We ask what the highs are for the week, what your lows have been, your challenges for the week, and then what you're doing to take care of you. Once we get that baseline, then we go into the activities. We talk about the topic of the day. The topic relates to the music that we are listening to. We learn how to look at lyrics and really analyze and build that presence in what it is that we're actually taking in. And then we can write music based on how we want to feel, how we would like to be talked to, perceived, and then we can build that music. We can create tracks that allows us to record and literally bounce that, download it, and now you have something with you that is from you, that resonates with you and in the highest level. And I realized recently that even though that is fire, it's fun, the most important part is the check-in. Because if you don't know where you are, everything that has happened in the last week that has gotten you to this very moment, it's very hard to navigate to where you want to be. If you don't have those two GPS beacons, what's happening with me right now? And so I ask all my participants, why do you think we do the check-ins? You think this is for, our data, the data that we have to collect to show outcomes? Like, partially, but really this is for you. This is for you to check in with yourself, not just weekly, not just when we ask, but for you to begin the habit of being in tune with yourself. And I use the word in tune purposely because it is a musical term, but it's also acknowledging us as the primary instruments in this world that we live in. And so one of the most important questions that I was asked was, what is the sound that I hear when the first sound I hear when I wake up, and what is the last sound I hear when I go to sleep? That one question alone forces you to become that much more present in realizing that music is so much more than just the notes. It is sound itself. And music is presence. It is the awareness of everything that is going on around us. And we have some input, but we only have input if we take the accountability and the action to be present in the moment. And so that's what the whole program really cultivates. And so yeah, we're able to, once we realize that, then we really realize how valuable it was to children to begin their journey as a preventative model, so that you could go into the world with these tools of self-awareness to be able to communicate and express how you're feeling and have the vocabulary to know what this feeling even is when my chest, um, when Haskell turns into the transporter, um, to understand what's actually happening and understand your own emotions and triggers and just have that vocabulary. And then it extended to um, teens as well and young adults. And that's really been our primary focus and how we've been building this curriculum um, and scaling.
Where are you all located?
So we're in Los Angeles County. We have our headquarters is in Inglewood, near LAX, and we primarily serve all of Los Angeles County. We do our best um, to go exactly where the need is. So we go to the schools, we go to treatment clinics, um, we go to after school programs, rec centers, wherever there's a need. Um, we want to make sure that there are no barriers or as little barriers as possible to receiving these tools.
And so if you are in the LA County area, I just wanted to make sure that we put up the flag so that you knew that where they are. Uh, we talked before about what young people are carrying. And I'm wondering, based on the work that you've been doing, what is it that young people are trying to say that perhaps isn't being heard in more traditional spaces?
I had a conversation with a student maybe 3 weeks ago, and from the outside, this student was just a poor behavioral report. When you sit down with him, and I asked him what he liked to do, what was his self care routine, he told me he enjoyed playing video games. I'm like, oh, what are you listening to while you're playing the video games? And he told me his favorite song. It was a song by NBA Youngboy, and it was a song about feeling alone and feeling like nobody listens to him and there's nobody that he can talk to. The song also speaks about missing his dad. And not more than 10 minutes after that, um, a faculty member came in and while the child was there, gave me a report about the child in front of the child about how poorly he had behaved in the past few weeks. And what was prevalent in that moment, I find prevalent in most moments. Our participants don't feel like their opinion is valued. They don't feel like people are listening to them at all. And there are very few opportunities, especially for young adults, to have face to face interaction with actual adults to share their point of view and perspective in a safe space where their opinion is as valued just as much as any other person's. So I feel that's the main thing that I've noticed is that disconnect, which is what creates the isolation, which in turn creates all of the side effects, the inability or the challenging building relationship. Because if you don't feel like anybody cares what you have to say, you're always guarded. There's never a chance to be vulnerable.
It's interesting. I worked in corporate for a long time and left in 2008. Thank God for showing me that I can rely on myself and him. And um, one of the things that has become a very common practice in the corporate landscape is having these employee assistant programs. They're called different things, right? But it's like a set of resources and tools and services to support an employee's whole from a whole life perspective. And it just dawned on me while you were talking, Jared, that we've not brought that into the classroom. We have a
No.
guidance counselor. We have a guidance counselor, right? But what we're not doing and what we need to do is pay attention to the fact that these children are humans. My goodness, these are
Yes.
humans, right? And so you
Yes.
cannot expect a human being, just going back to what we were talking about before, your parents are going through something, or maybe your parents are breaking up and your parents are worried about the war, and maybe you're the child of a service person and, you know, blankety blankety blank, like all the things that happen in a child's life, and you're
Yeah.
expecting them to get A's. And the only question we ask, is, are you getting good grades? You know, how often do people ask young people that like, are you how's your grades? Who
Yeah.
gives a
How's
crap?
school?
I mean, how's school going? And the question is loaded with, what are your grades? How are we
Exactly.
rating you, your performance? But to have and to learn a practice of checking in with yourself and asking yourself, what are the sounds that are greeting me in the morning? Like, what are the sounds? Like, let me connect to my senses. What do I hear when I wake up in the morning? What do I smell? You know, what do I see? And allowing a child, or filling a child up with those foundational, important things would make such a difference. And I believe would help a child to understand how important they truly are, and that what they think and what they're going through and how they're experiencing this crazy ass adult thing,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it really does matter.
And unfortunately, Lisan, whenever, because the landscape of schools and even work environments don't have that uh, whole spectrum of wellness, and you're just objectified into what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to perform, um, it's created a conditioning of everybody having to just do, but not being able to be mindful about how they're showing up presently and how they're being. So it creates a trap for people to just grind and be a part of the grind culture and never escape the hamster wheel of performance and objectification.
That's right. Because we're taught that the thing is to achieve. That's it. Once you achieve, once you get the Grammys, once get the house and the car and the dog and the spouse or whatever the thing is, that's success. And that's why there are so many folks who have been able to do that, but they're still feeling that lack and that emptiness and void, because that's not a filling up from the inside.
Yeah, I would add as well, and I've been recognizing this from, because I work, a lot of kids one on one. The parents are giving me information as well as teachers, so they're seeing that before, and I want to be very sensitive when I say this, because before, when we were in school, there was a separate location for kids that needed extra assistance and help. And they had names for them that, if you say those names today, they would be, very disrespectful. There was a separation between those children that needed extra assistance and the ones that were able to sit in the classroom respectfully and do their thing. Nowadays, those classes are joined together. And so you have both spectrum of kids in the same room. You'll have some kids that have the control and they can sit quietly and respect the teacher. And then you have a handful of kids that are running around. They're like terrorizing the classroom and with one teacher. And so they are responsible to be security guards, teachers, as well as nurturers for all day. These kids are dropped off. And so that's a very difficult environment to try to teach, um, get some type of outcome. And so I think that's an issue as well. Teachers need assistance. They need more than one in one classroom. And some teachers, they kind of crumble under that, where they don't know how to discipline. They don't have kids sometimes of their own. They don't have children. And so that's a huge discussion that needs to be talked through as well. Because, to a certain extent, you want to understand the parent that has a kid that's on the spectrum, and you want them to feel normal. You want them to be in a classroom with other friends and things like that. How do we work around that? What's the workaround?
Yeah. How do we integrate? So that brings up a point. I think teachers absolutely need a program of their own. I don't know if y'all do that or not, but it brings a question of like, how do you three manage the tension that is associated with you doing this work?
Okay, so let me tell you, without giving too much detail.
Besides driving all over, where are you going? You've been driving for a long time. Is he just driving around? Is this like your creative process?
He's going to San Diego right now.
Is he?
I'm coming to your place.
You're coming down to San Diego. I'm like, he has been. Where are you on a road trip?
I just got here. I just got here. I'm headed to a Disney studio.
Okay.
And I just got here, so I'm safe.
Didn't mean to get all up in your business.
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
like, wow, he's been going.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I want to say that something happened yesterday. Okay, we had a workshop, and in this workshop, we're at this particular place. We're working with kids that are in the system. They're juveniles. They're foster care kids. They've been through some trauma. And some of them have really, really heavy records. I mean, 187s and things like that. No lightweight. You talking serious 13-year-olds that have done some heinous work on the streets.
What is the 187?
Pow, pow, pow. That's you're dead. Boom, boom, boom. So,
unaliving.
Yeah, so we're in this room and we're about to start the workshop. Three young men came into the classroom. They were a little late, so they got dropped off late. They came in and immediately they knew someone that was there. And they were about to fight in the class. So thank God there were three of us to facilitate and to make sure we separate those young men. I took three of them to a room down the hall. I had to be down there the whole time with them. And Jay and Stevie were in the main room. So under circumstances like that, you got to think on your toes. You have to be very aware of the kids you're dealing with and still do the work and get them into a mind space, a head space where they can still be active and be included and not even harp so much on what was about to happen because there were enemies in the room. And one of the younger ones, he had a murder charge. And he was able to speak through that. These are heavy things. These are not light situations. And what do you do under that? Music is what we use to help them cope. And so we ended up recording some songs on them, and they literally almost forgot that they were even in some type of turmoil. We had to use that. We had to take advantage of that moment, and we were able to do that. So I'm very grateful that came out very great yesterday, because it could have been otherwise. And so that's why they're bringing music for your mental health into their classes, clinics, because we have seen great results and we're able to reach these young people. We dress like them, we talk like them, but so they let us in, and we're able to talk them down, down where it's about to go down.
Yeah, no, I was I was there. I'm still recovering.
Okay.
Because it could have went, it could have went a different way.
Yeah.
But to Haskell's point, the music was the mediator. That, and us being able to um, help de-escalate. So yeah, don't try this at home if you are not a trained facilitator. Uh, don't just walk up to don't just walk up to a gangbanger with a boombox thinking you're about to de-escalate something. No, I want to put that disclaimer out.
Don't try this at home. Don't try this
A
at
part
home.
of having a safe space is having a space that is secured, and having protocol for such behavior. So definitely want to add that disclaimer, but definitely, um, yeah, being able to speak to that and understanding the power of building rapport and how music can help, not only regulate, but in regulating, just distract from choosing the wrong path. And it was great to see yesterday how Haskell was able to produce in one room, and we were able to still look at lyrics. And by the end of the day, the participants in our room didn't want to leave, even though their ride was there. They were still excited and engaged in breaking down. We were talking about unhealthy lyrics in the Cardi B song, "Be Careful with Me," and we were going through each line, uh, to see where there were toxic lines, and whoever could come up with the most lines, was going to get a prize. And they were locked in, and they completely forgotten about wanting to beat up whoever, and waiting to see them and catch them outside. And for 10 minutes, they were back with us, and engaged and excited. And that's the whole thing. Um, when we're working with certain populations, life is very real. And so, it's like everything can be well and good in this space, which is why it's so important to give as many tools as possible, because you got to go right back outside.
Yeah.
And so, like, we don't have time to, almost curse, BS. We need to, we need to give you tools that are real. And so I would never, and part of why we do what we do is like, I would never tell you anything that's not tangible that you can't use immediately. Because, and I'm never going to tell you, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to talk about anything I don't know about. You don't need textbook. You need lived experience, and you need something that's going to be of value today. And so,
What do you all want a young person to feel after being in your space with you?
Ooh, I would say seen and loved, but go ahead.
I think our intention is also to validate, to affirm, and to encourage and empower. At the end of our sessions, if our participants are able to feel like they had some release, they were able to regulate themselves, and between the check-ins and the check-outs, they have a plethora of skills, coping skills, and support systems that they can implement as soon as they check out. Then they know that they're better off in the community and that they can thrive. So I feel like that's our intention and our hope.
What do parents need to understand after hearing this conversation?
That there's hope. There's not a lot of us, but we're growing a village of people with a music for your mental health mindset. And we will continue to grow and put folks on the street that have the same sentiments as we do. And the more, the better, because there are a lot of people doing great work out there, and we want to join forces with them. So for the parents that to, doesn't know what to do with their kids, get the information from this podcast. Go to our website, musicforyourmental.org. Reach out to us, ask us questions. We will come to your facility, in your classrooms, and do assemblies and give the information and find out ways that we can be of help and come and assist. You're not by yourself, is what I'm saying. We are here to do as much as we possibly can.
This is just another tool to empower parents to listen to their children. Listen to the playlist. And when I say listen to it, engage. You may not like what you hear, and that's okay. But you have to be open to hear it, and then you can ask questions about it. Well, why does this connect to you? Oh, well, you just like the beat. Well, did you hear this part? Like, how does that make you feel? But instead of being judgmental, um, allow your child the platform to speak about their interests. And that goes a long way in building rapport and connection.
That's what we were talking about before. Don't cut them off with, I don't like this. You know, give yourself a beat, model for that child what self restraint looks like and self control and listening looks like, and give that understanding a moment to breathe. Because once I understand, then we can kind of get into what we're going to do to fix it. But if I just jump in and say, what are you listening to this? Blah, 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 then it becomes a conversation with me about me.
And if you really hold space for that conversation, you might have an even deeper dynamic as to what's going on. I was listening to this song because he's saying everything that I'm living. I feel
Mhm.
alone. I feel isolated. I
Mm.
feel like this. And I know it sounds crazy, but he's speaking to my experience. This
Yeah,
is how I feel. So if you create that space more often than most, you get an even deeper understanding of what your kids are experiencing as humans.
that's right. I have to ask, how can we support you?
I would say, first of all, go to our website, musicforyourmental.org. Start there, peruse through the website, see the work that we're doing. Obviously, we're a nonprofit, so funding is key for us to continue to do the work. And so, whatever amount helps. We have so many facilities that we've gone to that they either didn't have the funds, they have the kids in need, but they didn't have the funds to bring us in. So the more opportunity we have to get these funds, whether it's in the form of grants or donations, it's a tax write-off. And we can go into these facilities that don't have the funds and work with these children. So I would say that first off, continue keep us in your prayers because we're going in deep waters. So for our safety and for our mental health, keep us in your prayers, keep us lifted, and speak well of us. We want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do continuously. That's what I'd say.
You can find us on all social media platforms under MFYMH. That's what our handle is on Instagram. Whenever we do use TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. All of the socials, MFYMH.
I think, the funding has been pulled from probably the most important initiatives that we truly have in this country, unfortunately. And so this within this chapter, we are met with the opportunity to really put our money where our mouth is. And I will speak on behalf of this organization in saying that whatever you can do is good, right? Whether it be $1, $100,000, or $1 million, like whatever you can do is good. And sometimes when you can't provide material support or financial support, tell somebody, pass the information along. So let's get together to support this leadership team running this organization in helping them to spread the word and to build their positive impact, because our children, our families need it. We need it. Last question. You asked the question earlier, Jared, about the song. So what's your song for today?
That's a great question. The song for today is Sounds of Blackness, Optimistic.
I like that. Come on, I like that a lot. Okay, Sean?
Oh,
You didn't think I was going to ask you, did you? Haskell, you better get ready.
I think my go-to really is Shine by Robert Glasper featuring D-Smoke. It's filled with affirmations.
Yeah, that's on my playlist also. Okay, Haskell.
Oh man, you guys know this is one of my hardest questions because I listen to so many things.
Well, we want to challenge you this morning to prepare you for your next meeting.
Gosh,
Let's go.
That's cold. Gibeon. I say Gibeon. I don't know the name of the song because it's a new album. So I have a couple songs on his new album.
Okay.
I'll just put that out there.
I was going to suggest that you have to sing it, but it seems like you're kind of like in a flurry on your way to the next thing. So I'm not going to do you
I'm
like
gonna get
that.
you. I am gonna get
I'm
you.
not going to do you like that.
When we meet you in person, you watch out.
That's okay. You go get in line. Get in line. My song is Black Truck by Neba.
Oh,
That is
come
my
on, Lisane.
that is my when
Okay.
I'm like, I'm so tired, I've had enough of this. I play that and it's a reminder of what I'm doing and why. It's one of the reminders of what I do and why. Gentlemen, this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for spending this time, for sharing in the way that you did during this conversation, and for sharing in the world and to the world the incredible gifts that you each have individually and what you form collectively. This is an organization that we got to watch and support and add to our prayers. And I just want to thank you so much. It's been an amazing time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
This is one of the dopest podcasts that we've been on. And because of your kindness and your grace and your great questions, we really, really thank you. On behalf of Music
you're
for Your Mental
welcome.
Health, you are a part of the team now. So
Yes, I am.
we gotta get you your merch, your Music for Your Mental hoodie. You like
Yes,
hoodies?
please do. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, we got you. We got hats.
I would love
we got
that.
you.
I
Okay.
love that. I love that. This is a Shaping Freedom sweatshirt.
Mm,
I'm gonna show you the back.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, come on. We
let's
need
go.
that. We're going to need that.
Okay.
All right. So
Come on,
as you're
Lisa.
perusing the world and meeting these single men who better be good guys, you
I got
you
you.
let
Get
them
'em.
know. You let them know there's a green flag in San Diego looking for a green flag. Only a green flag.
Got
Okay.
you.